this video, we are going to study about structure of human sperm. In the earlier video, we have studied about spermatogenesis and spermiogenesis. Spermatogenesis is nothing but the formation of sperms. Spermiogenesis is the transformation of spermatids into sperms. Today we are going to study what exactly the mature sperm structure is. The human sperm is microscopic and haploid flagellated structure. So if we see the structure of the sperm in the microscope, we can tell that it is haploid in nature. Haploid because it is having 23 chromosomes. It has 4 parts: head, neck, middle piece and tail. So the sperm structure consists of head and a small depression called neck, middle piece and the tail. So these are the 4 parts of the sperm. Head part, this is a neck, this part is middle piece and this is tail. So now we are going to study each and every part separately. At the end of this, we are going to study a complete structure of the sperm. So the first we are going to study about this head part. So coming to this head part, the head consists of mainly 2 components. So it includes acrosome and the nucleus. So this part is acrosome and it consists of nucleus. So this is acrosome and below acrosome you can find nucleus. So head consists of 2 parts, acrosome and nucleus. So the acrosome is derived from Golgi bodies. So in the spermatid, acrosome will be present. This acrosome, when it gets transferred, it forms a cap-like structure. So it forms this cap-like structure and this cap-like structure is called as acrosome. So it is derived from Golgi bodies. So acrosome is present just above the nucleus. So acrosome consists of sperm lysins. Lysins means enzymes. So it consists of mainly 3 enzymes are present. It includes hyaluronidase, corona perinating enzyme and acrosine. Acrosine, it is also called as zona lysine. We will study about what exactly the function of all these 3 enzymes. So now coming to hyaluronidase enzyme. So this enzyme, mainly we can say that it destroys hyaluronic acid of the ovum present in corona radiata and enters into the sperms. So now this is a structure of egg. So this is a structure of egg. In this structure of egg, we can find the egg consists of protective membranes. The protective membranes of the egg are the outer membrane is corona radiata. Outer membrane is corona radiata. Inner to this is zona pellucida. Zona pellucida. So this is a structure of egg. Egg structure it is. Structure of egg it is. So now the hyaluronidase enzyme in the acrosome. So in the acrosome of the sperm, we can find three enzymes are present. So we will study what exactly these enzymes are going to function. So now we can tell that in the acrosome, hyaluronidase enzyme. So the hyaluronidase enzyme will help in destroying hyaluronic acid of the ovum. So here you can see there are many follicles are present. So in the corona radiata there are many follicles. So in between these follicles there is an acid called as hyaluronic acid. There is an acid called as hyaluronic acid. So now has the sperm just touches the egg, so from the acrosome enzymes will be released. So it is going to release the enzymes. The first enzyme is hyaluronidase. This enzyme, what it will do? It will dissolve all the hyaluronic acid present in between these follicles. So the follicles of corona radiata, they will get separated. So that is a function of hyaluronidase enzyme. Next enzyme is corona penetrating enzyme. This corona penetrating enzyme dissolves corona radiata. So you can find here. So as the follicles they get separated, so easily the corona penetrating enzyme, it will dissolve all the cells of this so that the sperm can enter inside. The sperm can enter inside. Little bit it can move. So the next region is zona pellucida. So the another enzyme acrosin, it acts on zona pellucida so that even the zona pellucida also dissolves. So wherever the sperm is entering at that particular region, corona radiata and zona pellucida degenerates so that the sperm can enter into the ovum easily. The sperm can enter inside the ovum easily. Hence, the acrosome enzymes called spermlysins, they help in penetrating the sperm especially into the ovum. So anterior half of the nucleus, as we have discussed that the head part, so this is a acrosome we have studied, and then below that there is an nucleus. Now the important thing here to remember is the anterior half of the nucleus and the acrosome. So this part is protected by a membrane which is called as Gallia capitis. Gallia capitis. So the part which is going to cover half of the nucleus and acrosome is called Gallia capitis. So next region in the head is nucleus. So as we have already discussed about acrosome, importance of acrosome we have discussed, and below that we have studied that it consists of nucleus. So coming to the nucleus is condensed. The nucleus is condensed and it is having a slight depression here. It is having a slight depression. It consists of a slight depression. So as we know very well that the nucleus, so this is a nucleus, It consists of genetic material. It consists of DNA and basic proteins. The nucleus carries genetic material. So next thing is, here we have already discussed, there is a Gallia capitis. Don't forget. So half of the nucleus and the acrosome is protected by Gallia capitis. Next thing is about plasma membrane. So as we all know very well that plasma membrane is a protective membrane which covers the head part, and it covers the neck, then it covers middle piece and a part of the tail. So at the end region of the tail, at this region of the tail, plasma membrane will be absent. So the plasma membrane, it will be present in the head region, neck region, middle piece, and in the tail. So half of the tail will be covered with the plasma membrane, and the last part of the tail is not covered by plasma membrane. So on the anterior region of the plasma membrane, it consists of a chemical called as anti-fertilizin. So this anti-fertilizin helps in reacting with the fertilizin of the egg. So the egg contains a chemical called as fertilizin. It contains a chemical called as fertilizin. The sperm contains a chemical called anti-fertilizin. At the tip of the plasma membrane, we can find it consists of anti-fertilizin. So this anti-fertilizin as well as fertilizin of the egg. So a chemical reaction will take place between both, and it is very essential, which has a capability of fertilizing the egg of the same species. Then the cytoplasm in the nucleus is nearly absent. So next part we are going to study about the neck. So the neck is present just below the head and above the middle piece. So this is a neck part. So this neck part is a slight narrow depression. The neck consists of two centrioles, proximal centriole as well as distal centriole. So as we have discussed here already that the neck, so this is a nucleus and this is a acrosome. Now I am concentrating only on the neck region. So in the neck region we can find it consists of two centrioles. So neck region consists of two centrioles. So this centriole is called as, that is which is present towards the nucleus, is called as proximal centriole. It is called as proximal centriole. This proximal centriole plays a very important role for the zygotic division. Once the fertilization completes, once the sperm and ovum fuses, it results in zygote. Zygote will undergo mitotic division. So during that process, for the first zygotic division, the proximal centriole will produce spindle fibers. Next, coming to the distal centriole. So this is a distal centriole. The distal centriole will produce a axial filament. So it is going to produce a filament, so which starts from the neck region and it enters into the middle piece as well as to the tail. So it is continued. So distal centriole will help in the formation of axial filament. So next we are going to study about middle piece. So now I am concentrating mainly on the middle piece. So we have completed the head part as well as the neck part. Now coming to the middle piece. So this is the middle piece. So in the middle piece, it consists of mitochondria. So it is a middle piece. In the middle piece, a mitochondria is present. The speciality of the mitochondria in the sperm is the mitochondria is spring-like structure. The mitochondria will be like a spring. This is what is mitochondria. This mitochondria is spring-like structure. Hence it is called as Nibenkan. It is called as Nibenkan. The mitochondria in the sperm is called as Nibenkan because it is like a spring-like structure. At the end of the middle piece, we can find a centriole is present at the end of the middle piece. So the centriole present here is called as ring centriole. It is called as ring centriole, or it is also called as annulus. It is also called as annulus. So here we can find it is called as ring centriole, or it is also called as annulus. So the function of this ring centriole is not known. The cytoplasm will be present at the base of the head as well as in the middle piece, a cytoplasm present. A thin cytoplasm will be present in this region. The cytoplasm here, it is called as manchet. It is called as manchet. The cytoplasm in the middle piece is called as manchet. So next part is the tail. So in the sperm, we can find that compared to all parts, tail is the longest part. Tail is the longest part. If we see the tail, so this is completely from here till the end, it is a tail part. The tail part, anatomy of the tail part, if we find, it consists of a microtubule which is arranged in 9 plus 2. So as we know that in the middle piece there is a mitochondria is present. Here there are two centrioles is present. We have studied that the distal centriole will form a axial filament. So this is called as axial filament. It is called as axial filament. So we have discussed. So now we are discussing about the tail part. So in the center of the tail, there is an axial filament. It is an endoskeleton for the tail. So just we can find here that the tail can be differentiated into two regions. So this part is called as main piece. So till here it is called as main piece. Till here it is called as main piece, which consists of plasma membrane as well as cytoplasm. So this part is called as end piece. It is called as end piece, where the cytoplasm and the plasma membrane is absent. So here it consists of only axial filament. So now we will just see the structure of a complete sperm. So if you find the structure of this complete sperm, we can say that each and every part plays an important role. The first thing is plasma membrane. So coming to the plasma membrane, so this is present throughout the sperm except at the end piece region, and it helps in giving protection. Next part is acrosome. Acrosome, we have studied that it releases an enzyme which helps in penetration of the sperm into the ovum. Next one is nucleus. Nucleus plays a very important role because it consists of genetic material. Then a neck is present. The neck consists of two centrioles are present, proximal centriole as well as distal centriole. The proximal centriole, so we can find here a proximal centriole will be present. The proximal centriole which helps in the first zygotic division, and below that itself there will be a distal centriole will be present. Distal centriole will helps in the formation of axial filament. You can see from here dark line is present. This is nothing but from the tip it is present. Okay, so this is nothing but the axial filament. It is a axial filament. So now middle piece. So middle piece contains mitochondria which produces energy for the movement of the sperm. And then next one is the tail, and in the tail we have studied that it consists of two parts. So from the anterior, so from here till here we can say it is a main piece. It consists of main piece, as well as at the end region it is called as end piece is present. So this tail helps in motility. So here we can tell that as the human male ejaculates, it releases around 200 to 300 million sperms will be released during coitus. So for the normal fertility, at least 60% of the sperms must have normal shape and size, and 40% of them must show vigorous motility. So next we are going to study about hormonal control of male reproductive system. So in the male reproductive system, the growth, development and function of reproductive organs of the male will depend on hormones. So during puberty, at the time of puberty period we can tell, so during puberty stage, many hormones will be released. So here at the time of puberty, hypothalamus, it will release gonadotrophin hormone. It will release gonadotrophin hormone. This gonadotrophin hormone will act on anterior pituitary gland. Anterior pituitary gland will secrete FSH and LH hormones. As we all know very well that FSH is a follicle stimulating hormone and LH is a luteinizing hormone. So now coming to the FSH, it acts on Sertoli cells. So you have to recall the TS of the seminiferous tubule. So when we recall the TS of seminiferous tubule, we have understood that it consists of two main types of cells. So that is germinal epithelium cells are present. So these are germinal epithelium cells, and in between we can find there is a Sertoli cells are present. So in the seminiferous tubule we can find germinal epithelium cells are present as well as Sertoli cells will be present. So now the FSH hormone, as we have studied that from hypothalamus. So the hormone released is gonadotrophin releasing hormone. It acts on the anterior pituitary gland. It acts on the anterior pituitary gland. So it will act, it will release FSH as well as LH. So concentrate on this FSH and LH. Now, FSH hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, will act on the Sertoli cells. It will act on the Sertoli cells so that it helps in the formation of spermatogenesis. So, with the help of follicle stimulating hormone, even it acts on Sertoli cells as well as it also acts on germinal epithelium cells also, so that spermatogenesis will take place. And these Sertoli cells, it also produces a protein called as inhibin. It is a hormone made up of protein. Then the LH hormone, that is luteinizing hormone, will act on Leydig cells. So we all know that in between the seminiferous tubule there are many Leydig cells are present. There are many Leydig cells are present. So in between seminiferous tubules we can find the Leydig cells. So Leydig cells are present. So LH hormone, luteinizing hormone, will act on this Leydig cells. So Leydig cells will start producing testosterone hormone. So which is nothing but androgens. These testosterone hormone, it helps in secondary sexual characteristic features, as well as this testosterone hormone will enter into the seminiferous tubules and it helps in spermatogenesis. So here we can study the Sertoli cells. So Sertoli cells, it also produces a protein called as androgen binding protein. So Sertoli cells, so it produces two things. Sertoli cells will produce inhibin as well as androgen binding protein. It is a type of protein. Sertoli cell is going to produce androgen binding protein. The main function of this protein is whatever the testosterone hormone is entering into the seminiferous tubule, that ABP, androgen binding protein, it will bind the testosterone here so that it indirectly helps in spermatogenesis. If the secretion of FSH as well as testosterone increases, if it increases, the Sertoli cells will produce inhibin. Inhibin, it suppresses the production of FSH and LH by suppressing the pituitary gland, as well as it gives message for the hypothalamus to stop releasing gonadotrophic hormone, which is called as negative feedback. In the same way, increasing in the testosterone hormone, it will give negative feedback for the anterior pituitary gland to stop LH hormone, which in turn gives signal for the hypothalamus in order to stop secretion of gonadotrophin releasing hormone. So here we can study what exactly the hormones functions, how it is going to affect. As I told you, spermatogenesis will start at the age of puberty. At the age of puberty it will start. It increases, that is gonadotrophin releasing hormone will increase at the during puberty stage. So it acts on anterior pituitary gland and it releases LH as well as FSH hormone. So LH, it is also called as interstitial cell stimulating hormone. Why? Because it stimulates Leydig cells. So it helps in secretion of androgens. The main androgen is testosterone, which helps in secondary sexual characteristic features of the male as well as for spermatogenesis. So FSH stimulates production of androgen binding protein. So as I told you, this protein is produced by a Sertoli cells. So it also stimulates sperm production. So Sertoli cells produces androgen binding protein as well as inhibin. So this androgen binding protein, as I told you already, it will bind the testosterone hormone and other androgens so that the concentration of the male hormone will be more in the seminiferous tubule, which helps in the process of spermatogenesis. If the hormone secretion increases, then the Sertoli cell will produce inhibin hormone. It stops the production of FSH as well as gonadotropin releasing hormone so that spermatogenesis will slow down. In the next session, we are going to study about oogenesis.